Guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome. I am so happy you found us. I'm Lisa, and this is Creativity and Inspiration. I know, I'm getting ready to do stupid things, right? Sorry about that. Today is Saturday. I can't believe it's Saturday, and it's already over. Honestly, it's late in the day. I can't believe it's already 3 o'clock on this Saturday. Where does the time go now? Seems like it just and it's gone. I don't know. But today we are doing, and I have my notes here. I always have index cards with notes. If you wonder what they are, they're my video ideas. They're the things I want to talk about. So if you see them, that's what you're seeing. Anyway, today's video is different ways you can bind your journals. And the reason I did this one, I had told you on Thursday in the bonus video that we were going to create an inspiration journal. And that's what we're going to do. But I've moved that one to Monday because I thought, okay, let's talk about different ways we can bind journals. Then we'll talk about how to create an inspiration journal. And the bindings can be part of the inspiration journal, if that makes sense. You'll see. It'll make more sense when we get to the inspiration journal. So that will be on Monday, Tuesday. My husband has X-ray, CT scan, MRI, all on Monday. So hopefully I get that video filmed, edited, and posted. If not, it will be up Tuesday, I promise. But how can we bind journals? There's actually, look, I put up my index card and I couldn't, I came up with a bunch of ways to bind journals. And they range from very, very simple to a little more complicated. And we're going to go through each one. And basically there's 6 or 7 ways that we can bind a journal. And I think I have a pretty good example up of what I'm talking about so you'll be able to see. So we're going to start from simplest to hardest. Anyway. So binding the journal is just for newbies. How the journal stays together, right? And how it holds together so it doesn't fall out of its cover. And there's a lot of ways, believe it or not, that you can do this. And we're going to start with the most simple, and I actually don't think I have. The simplest way you can bind a journal is to put it in a notebook. A spiral notebook. Is this a spiral notebook? To put it in one of these. Has the metal rings in it. You just pop them open. You poke holes in your pages. Put them in here. And you have a great journal. And you can buy these things smaller. I think you can get them in 6x9 size. Why would you put your journal in this, you're saying? And it's not a journal? Of course it's a journal. You can decorate, even if it's hard, like this. Even if it's a color like black or navy. You can paint on this. You can stick paper to this. These make actually great covers for journals, and they're an easy, super way to bind journals, especially if you're just starting out, or maybe you suffer from arthritis and your hands don't work as good, or maybe, you broke your arm or something like that. Then this way is a great way to make a journal. Instead of folding your pages, just do single pages, poke holes in all of them, and put them in. It's really easy, and it's a great way, like I said, if you have hand issues or you're just starting out. And you can get these things at thrift stores, estate sales, a lot of times will have some. If you want the smaller ones, though, any like Walmart, Amazon, an office supply store, they're really everywhere, and it's the simplest option for binding a journal. Now, related to that, but without the pre-made cover, is to use rings. And these are just little rings, just like in there. Only they're not attached to a plastic, or they're not attached to a cover. And you could put as many as you want. If you wanted to do 6 rings, you could do 6 rings. If you wanted to do 3. And these are easy to open. They just I always have to think a minute when I do these. Yeah, they just kind of push down and apart and then push up and down. So you push. See, I can't do it again. Oh, no, these go out and then they go out and in. So rings. That's the second way you can bind a journal. And again, these would be single pages, not folded. Almost threw them across the floor. Now, what is another way you could bind a journal? Kind of along those same lines, but you have to have a machine to do these or take them to, like, sometimes copy places where you go have copies made or stuff printed will do these. And these, I think, are called spiral ring binders too. So this is a great way to bind a journal too. And the machine will poke the holes, and then you transfer this, you do it like, and then you put it on. I had one of those machines. This is hard. It was hard for me. The machine was real stiff, so. But this kind of binding is another way you can bind a journal. Now, what if your hands, I should have started with this one actually. What if your hands are hurting? Opening those rings in the hardcover notebook is hard. What can you do? Getting these little rings, what can you do, right? It's all too hard. Well, like this one that I'm using constantly every day, I just used a rubber band. That's it. And if I take the rubber band off, when the pages are full, I can take them out, put new signatures inside, put my rubber band back on, and boom, I have a journal. Nothing falls out of this. It's tight. Here, I'm going to show you. Nothing falls out except the ephemera. And I'll show you that was ephemera. See, I have pockets full of stuff in here. But it holds my signatures in. It's really cool. So, just that simple. You could tie it with yarn. You could tie it with twine, rubber bands, whatever. Another way you could do it, if you have a good sewing machine and you have space and your journal's not real big, you can simply line up your crease where you want your signature to be in your journal on the spine and run it through and sew it in. I've done that before. Sew it right in with a sewing machine. Another way you can bind journals, and I didn't make this journal, I got this in a swap, is to do the pamphlet stitch. And that's where you poke 3 holes. You poke the holes through your signature and through your cover. And you can see the binding right there. And in those 3 holes, and you start by coming up through the center, down through the top one, up through the center, down through the bottom one. And if you want to tie it inside, you come back up through the center and tie it off. And you can see there's the tie right there. So the pamphlet stitch. Now this stitch in way of binding is probably the most popular, and it's a great way to do it. And in this journal, they use just plain cotton thread, or you have those skeins of yarn that you do embroidery with. You can peel off just 1 strand of that would work, or 2 strands. You want to make sure it will hold up, okay? But also, I like to use wax thread, and wax thread is simply thread that's coated in a wax. And you can get this, I think, on Amazon. I bought this off of Etsy. You can get it off of Etsy. It's thicker, it's strong, and because it's coated, it's wax thread, it slides through all of the paper, into the little hole you made super easy. So I like using wax thread. But if you don't have wax thread, something else that will totally work, no problem, is dental floss. Just use dental floss. What is it? It's waxed thread. And it's that simple. The only other thing you need to make a pamphlet stitch journal is something to poke the holes through all the layers. And this is an owl, AWL. That's what I use. This is the one I got from Liz, but I have one too, but hers was prettier. So, And you just use this and poke the holes all the way through each signature and through the spine, and then you sew them all together with your wax thread, with your yarn, skewn one thread or two threads of it, or use your dental floss. You could also use some type of thin elastic. You could use that thread that you can't see, like fishing wire. You just want to make sure that you can tie it off tight and your signatures don't go flying out, because it does happen if they're not secured in there really well. Now, another way you can bind a journal is to glue it. Glue just the spine. Now, this one's a little tricky. I've done this. I've used double-sided tape and I've done glue, and I'll try to find the video where I did the double-sided tape. This is a little tricky, and I'm going to show you why. Hold on, let me get a smaller journal down here. Okay, as you can see, this one, good old rubber band. This is like my meditation journal that I write in every day. And so I change it out quite a bit because I'm pretty good about writing in it. So I'm going to take this off and I'm going to walk you through gluing one in. But I'm going to take out I just started this one, so there's not a lot of writing, which makes it easy to just take out what I wrote, because you know these journals are very private. Okay, so here is our cover, and here is our spine, and then here's my signature. If I was to glue this in, it would be a very long process, because one, you're going to want to make sure it stays in place once you get glued down. So it's going to be alligator clips and glue, and gluing it, making sure it stays, fold the pages down, alligator clip on. And I'm going to show you. We're going to simulate gluing this down. What I would do, and I'm going to scoot you up for this one. Okay, what I would do to glue this one down. Alright, well, since it's just a simulation, I like to use bigger clips, but I can only find 2. And you really need 4 for this. What you would do is you would put a dollop of glue, and you would make sure your pages stay flat. Put a dollop of glue down the center of your spine. Then you would take your first page that was going to go in here, if you're gluing your journal down, and you would make sure it lines up, and then you would open your page, you would put your alligator clips on, and you would do this on all 4 sides, because you want to make sure it stays well balanced on all 4 sides, and you would just press down in the center to make sure that glue is holding up. You could also put an alligator clip right on the center like that, and one at the top if you wanted to, and this would be page 1. Then you come in with the second page, and you would put a layer of glue right down the center again, just like we did. You would put your page down, your second page down. Once you get it down just right where you want it, the glue's holding, you would put your clip back to hold. First, I would actually put the clip. Now, when you get to the second page, I would put the clip down that is on that center part first, on the bottom and top, then worry about the pages. And you keep layering, and then you leave it like this overnight. You put your last clip. Don't forget you need 6 clips for this. You put all your clips on, and you leave it overnight to make sure those all dry. Then in the morning, you will have a nice glue-bound book. But this is very tedious and very, very time-consuming. Now, you can do the same method with double-sided tape, but you would do it exactly the same way. You would start at your base on your cover, put your first layer of tape right where you want it, And realize you want to use the thinnest tape possible, because the wider it is, the more of your pages are going to be stuck and you're not going to have that smooth turning ability. So you want to make sure, if you're going to use the double-sided tape method, that you get as thin a tape as possible, and then you put it down, then you put your first page down. Only thing is, once you get it down, you can't move it with a double-sided tape, which is fine, but you still want to clip it. Then you'll put your second layer of double-sided tape down, then put your second page, and so forth and so forth. So this way is not hard, but it is honestly kind of time-consuming. This way is not hard, but it quite honestly is very time-consuming. So you want to take that into consideration when you pick a binding you're going to use. And this is why I like to change out signatures, especially if I have covers I love. Sorry guys, I have been having some issues with my camera. I've had this camera for a while, and I hope it's not about to break. I hope it was just... let's just hope. Okay, so we've talked about gluing, binding, all of that. Sorry, lost my train of thought. Now, our next and last way we're going to talk about binding journal pages in is the hinge method. And this is probably time-consuming, just as time-consuming as the tape glue method, because there's more steps. But I'm going to show you how to do it. And to do this method, it's a two-step process. First, you want to make your spine. So you're going to make your spine to fit in whatever journal you want. And I have this cover, so I'm going to make a spine to fit in here. And I've made a spine here too, but as you can see, it's real small. So the one I'm going to make out of this paper is going to be just a little bit wider. You can use cardboard. I chose this paper because, as you can hear, it's a very sturdy paper. This is some of the brown paper that came in the box I got from Liz. So I'm just going to use this. This is only going to be a one signature example, so that's fine. So I'm going to cut it probably about an inch. An inch would be great, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to first cut your spine however wide and tall you need it. And of course, this will be different for everybody, depending on the journal everybody's made, which is fine. So let me get this spine cut real quick. And I'm not using a very straight method because I'm just doing this for example purposes. I will use the strip in some things. So now I've cut my spine. I would glue it down onto my cover. Now I'm going to make the hinges. And the hinges are going to be however many pages your journal is, you will decide that. But what I'm going to do is cut some paper shorter than my, you can make it the same size or shorter than the spine you just cut. You might have noticed I cut it really wide, and I'm going to show you why. It's because I'm going to fold this like an accordion, like we used to fold fans. So I'm simply going to fold it like a fan. And I'm going to do it pretty thin. They don't have to be thick. You can do them however you want. But you fold them back and forth like we used to fold fans when we were in school and it was hot for the bus ride home. Once you get your fan folded, it should look like this. Okay, you have all these sections, okay? Next, after you get your fan folded, you're going to take it and glue it to the spine. Okay, and see how I'm doing that? I'm just gluing it down. There's all my ridges, so I'm gluing it to this back side. and it's all glued in my book. So then once you get everything where it's supposed to be, it's going to look like that. And that's your hinges. Then you come in with your pages and you just glue them on to each fold. And everything could be a different size. That's fine. You can have some fold out papers, and you just go through and you glue your page to each fold. And you make however many folds you need for the size of your signature. Then when it's all done, your spine is attached in your cover, your hinges are attached to your spine, and your pages are attached to your hinges. Like I said, it's in depth, but it's not hard. And let's do one just so everybody gets the idea. Now, I'm not going to attach the spine because this isn't how this journal is used, but I'm going to put that there just to hold it so you can get the idea. Okay, now I will attach my spine so everybody can see how you do it, and you can do that again with glue or double-sided tape. I'm going to use a little bit of tape and just throw it on it real quick. And you can put it however you want it, whichever side you want. Just tape it down, glue it down, whatever you're doing. Okay, and then your spine and your hinges are attached. Now you just come in with your pages, and I'm going to use thinner tape, double-sided tape. You could use glue, of course. I just want to show you how it's going to look. So I'm at the first part of my fan, the first fold, right here in the front. I'm going to come in with my first page and glue it or tape it right there. And then it's going to fold over. And then I'm going to come into this side right here, which is the second one. Okay, here's the front, first one. The second one is on the back of that one. So I'll come in and put a piece of double-sided tape or glue. And then I'm going to put my page. And I'm putting my tape or my glue towards the top of it. Okay, now I'm going to come in with my second page, and I'm peeling off my double-sided tape. I'm going to line my second page up, and I'm going to put it down, run your finger over it, and then you have two pages. And then you get the idea of what your signature is going to look like. And this is called the hinge method. And then when you're done, you take off your alligator clips, and you will have a great little journal that didn't require sewing. And it was super fun to make because hinge journals, you don't see them very often. So it's a fun way to, then it's a great little journal. You don't see them very often made this way. So it's just something fun to do. It's a great way to make a cute little journal. It's something fun to do. It is a little time consuming, just like gluing them, but you get a very unique and something different, and you don't have to sew. So guys, I hope you liked this video about all the different ways that you can bind a journal. You don't have to do it any certain way. You can do it with what works for you, what works for that journal you're working on. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Also, don't forget, hit that subscribe button and that little bell, because on Monday, Tuesday, depending on my husband's schedule, I will be going over an inspiration journal, walking through all the steps, some cool things for that. And we have a lot of great videos planned from now till the end of the year and beyond. I will see you next time. As usual, thank you for being here. You are so appreciated. Don't forget to check the comments down below. I always ask you a question, and I'd love to see your thoughts on it. Bye-bye.